How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Family. We are back with another FPL video, and today it's the Game Week 10 lineup preview. We're going to see how the team did in Game Week 9, as well as what we're doing for Game Week 10 and what transfers we're looking to do this game week. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. Also, drop us a follow over on Twitter so you can keep up to date with any and all FPL news, and give us a follow over on Twitch so you can join us live for our preview and deadline streams, which we will be doing a deadline stream tomorrow, 1 hour before the FPL deadline. Slightly later deadline stream because the games don't start till the 3 p.m. kickoffs in the UK. So make sure to tune in for that. There'll be a pinned comment down below to give you the details on the stream link and the time as well. Now, without further ado, let's see how we did in Game Week 9. So we used our wild card in Game Week 9. I actually just realized this up at the top of the graphic. It says Game Week 10. This was our Game Week 9 lineup. I know Game Week 10 is this week, so just pretend that says Game Week 9. But this is what we scored in Game Week 9. 68 points, a 500k red arrow. Not the greatest. Not captaining Haaland really messed us up this week. We did claw some of that back with James Maddison's 18-pointer, which was fantastic. Didn't leave too much on the bench, all things considered. The only option would basically be to swap out Mitrovic for Andreas Pereira and Guehi for Trent Alexander-Arnold, but that would have only netted us 3 points, which isn't that much in the grand scheme of things. Raya getting the clean sheet out of all the goalkeepers, which is great to see. We were considering Pope, we were considering Guaita. Both of those goalkeepers did not keep a clean sheet, but Raya did, which is fantastic. We went for Salah captain. This is what pains me the most. It's not the fact that Salah could have got potentially more returns, which he could have. It's not the fact that Haaland went absolutely crazy. It's the fact that my 50-50 was Salah plus Mitrovic and Captain Salah, or De Bruyne plus Callum Wilson, who also scored, De Bruyne getting 2 assists as well, and Captain Haaland. And that 50-50 was like a 30-point swing, which is a large amount, but we're going to have to claw that back. We're going to have to claw it back. We're just outside the top 2 million, barely. We still can make up some ground. I definitely am fully confident in that, and I think there's still a lot to play for. It's only effectively 8 or 9 game weeks, depending on some teams that haven't. Actually, it's only 8, I believe, because every team didn't play for 1 week. Some have played 1 game more than others, so some teams are even on 7 games. So I think we can definitely claw some points back over the next coming weeks before the World Cup, and then look to utilize our chips later on down the line, which are going to be super, super important with the heavy double blank that could be coming in and around the late like Game Week 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34 in that period. So the chips are going to be quite useful in that time frame. Mitrovic also picked up an injury, which is why he's flagged on the graphic. It seems like, at least at the time of recording, I've heard the Fulham press conference as well as all the other ones as well. Shout out to Fantasy Football Scout for doing that video every week with Neil and Az. That they basically run through all the press conferences. Super, super effective and super, super useful for those that just need to get a quick basically soundbite of what players are injured and what players are not. And Mitrovic was set as a potential doubt. He did work on the grass solo by himself, no team involvement, but Marco Silva said he was definitely going to be back for Game Week 11. So if he doesn't play, I think he's just not going to play altogether. So not really too worried about him. I was thinking about something crazy like getting rid of Mitrovic and Trent Alexander-Arnold for Aubameyang and Chilwell, but I couldn't do that when Trent went down in price, because both Trent and Mitrovic going down in price this week, which is a bit unfortunate. But all things considered, I don't think the game week was too bad. We just got the on the wrong side of things. Captaincy-wise, that happened last season, which I was on the right end of it, with Salah captain versus Havertz, when, Havertz didn't get any points in like a 7-0 win or whatever it was, and Salah got 3 goals and an assist. It was a very similar situation this time as well, so a bit unfortunate there. But we move on. Let's move on to how our defense is looking for Game Week 10. So pretty straightforward. We're going to be running the same defense, looking much better on the fixture front, with Southampton at home and Wolves at home for Reece James and João Cancelo. David Raya is going to probably have a tricky time away from home versus Newcastle, and I don't expect Trent Alexander-Arnold to keep a clean sheet, but there is some potential chance for them to get returns this week. They all got returns in terms of the ones that played in Europe, and the case of Trent Alexander-Arnold, Cancelo, and Reece James in midweek in the Champions League, which is great to see. And the chips available as normal, free hit, bench boost, triple captain, those are going to be used later on in the season. We do have one free transfer, which we have used, and we'll discuss that in a little bit. But I think that potentially we could have a defender coming into the team. We'll discuss that when we see the kind of whole team, as it were. But just want to talk a little bit on kind of the defenders at the moment. Realistically, Cancelo and Reece James are the two best defenders in the game at the moment in terms of what they're offering. João Cancelo's kept a clean sheet in half the games and hasn't got that many returns, but all things considered is still probably one of the better valuable picks in that role. But with City potentially us looking to more of an offensive-minded look and onset of City assets in terms of getting like Phil Foden, KDB, and Haaland, Cancelo might be the one to make way, but I still think you got to have three defenders at a bare minimum. Big at the back went down pretty quickly. I basically have three premium defenders and then two budget ones. So I think Reece James is not going to go anywhere. Cancelo may go for Foden, if anything. And then Trent's kind of just got to stay in there for the time being just because he can score something. And I think Liverpool will eventually pull it back around. Maybe not in the next two fixtures versus Arsenal and Man City, but he might get something, can always get something from open play or on a set piece as well. So they're going to be in the team for now. Again, I kind of dabbled with the fact that I might do like Chilwell and Aubameyang, but the second his price dropped, I wasn't able to do that transfer. So we'll wait and see on Trent. We'll wait and see how things go with Liverpool. I expect them to come back in some way, shape, or form. They got to figure out the right formula and reinvent themselves, as Klopp mentioned in his press conferences. Now, let's move on to what the midfield is looking like. So, our transfer was Salah out for Kevin De Bruyne, who currently holds the vice captaincy. By the end of it, I might swap that over to a different player, but if I know that the Man City game is going to go ahead, obviously it seems like it's going to go ahead. But if for whatever reason I found out the Man City game wasn't going to go ahead, then I would swap it off some, off De Bruyne as well as the captaincy as well, because you're technically not supposed to captain players from the same team. But De Bruyne is, in my opinion, the second best captain this week, apart from Erling Haaland. Also in midfield, we have James Maddison, Wilfried Zaha, and Gabriel Martinelli. Martinelli plays Trent, which is kind of, a bit of a problem, but I think there's going to be goals in that game for both teams when they go forward. Probably more so for Arsenal in this one. And I think that Zaha, with his fantastic run of fixtures, you can't just pass up on that, is on penalties as well, which is kind of crucial among these midfielders. And then James Maddison just has a good fixture versus Bournemouth, and again, can pop up with anything from anywhere at any time because he's just that good. And it'd be a real shame if he didn't make it in Gareth Southgate's England 26-man squad that is going to the World Cup, which we should be finding out probably towards the end of this month, which is only like 2.5-3 weeks away, which is going to be very, very interesting to see who he picks. Kyle Walker looks like he could be out for some time. Maybe he gets back before the World Cup. We're still not sure, but it looks like it could be a serious injury. So maybe Maddison might make his way in there. I think he definitely is vying for a spot at the moment with his current form. He just needs to stay fit. I just needs to stay playing well, and then it definitely should be under consideration. Now, let's see how the whole team is looking with the forwards included. So to round it off with the forwards, a 3-4-3 system with Haaland as the captain. No surprise there. Solanke maintains his place versus Leicester at home. Again, we're going to play him in the good fixtures and bench him for the bad ones. So he's just kind of a budget enabler at the moment. And Mitrovic, we've got him in there. I expect that if he's going to play, he'll play from the start. If he's not going to play, he's just probably not going to play, period, which is why I've stuck him in there. Maybe if we find out anything where it's like, hey, Mitrovic isn't in the traveling squad or something like that, then I would put in Mark Guéhi versus Leeds, which would make a decent bit of sense. He's probably the better out of the two defenders, or the team more likely to keep clean sheet. Leeds, they had Jesse Marsh suspended for last game, as well as Sinisterra got suspended in that game, and it's just a bit weird on that front. And Forest, they just seem to concede goals left and right, so I think I would prefer Guéhi over Nico Williams, especially if Joachim Andersen is back for Crystal Palace because that would be a big boost for them. Him and Guehi as a partnership are fantastic, so I expect them to do well. Would I put Andreas Pereira in there? Well, if Mitrovic isn't playing, then probably not. I would prefer Guehi over Andreas Pereira in terms of the bench. And same for Raya over Iverson. I don't think Iverson's going to play because Ward got his first clean sheet, so he's going to play there. That was just a bit of a gamble and also a budget reasoning as well. So if Mitrovic doesn't play, then hopefully he doesn't play the entire game, and then we can get Guehi off the bench. But overall, I think the team's looking pretty good. We got 0.5 million in the bank to make slight adjustments. I'm looking to potentially roll a transfer next week. If I can, maybe, you know, I would be playing with 10 players, but again, it depends on Mitrovic's, Mitrovic's kind of availability, as it were. Could I make another transfer? Because getting rid of one of Cancelo, Martinelli, De Bruyne, and Haaland. Again, getting rid of any one of those players, I really like them, to be honest. And I might just see if I can squeak 10 players if I can. Maybe I'll have to think about it a little bit more, all things considered, because again, it is a blank a blank game week going into game week 12, so I want to be able to roll next week, or make a transfer next week. Maybe it's the De Bruyne out for Son or whatever it may be, and then maybe kind of consider just rolling and then doing something in 12, or even rolling in 12 and whatever it may be. That's kind of what I'm considering there. I think with 10 players, if I have Raya, Trent, James, Zaha, Madison, Solanke, Mitrovic, and then Guehi, Andreas, and Nico Williams on the bench, I don't think it's the end of the world, because again, all the good players seem to be on Arsenal and Man City at the moment. I think the only major thing would be Salah, that I would be missing in that one. But they do play West Ham, who are a bit of a stubborn defense to kind of break down. And Zaha and Madison, I believe, both have home fixtures that week as well. So they might be good captaincy shouts on the kind of going against the grain versus Salah, who hasn't looked in the greatest of form. Well, Liverpool as a whole haven't looked in the greatest form. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. I think the team looks pretty good for this week. We could potentially roll next week and just kind of play it as is. Go with 2 free transfers in 12, where we can make a transfer, try to upside chase and get Son. But I still think that City could really demolish Liverpool, because the defense just is not looking good, and that comes from the protection in midfield. So maybe De Bruyne, Cancelo, and Haaland in the game versus Liverpool could be just absolutely lights out, and they could wipe the floor with Liverpool. So let me just check down in the comments below, and that's going to do it for Game Week 10 lineup preview. Welcome to the Fantasy Football Scout members area, the one place that you need to be tuned into for the upcoming FPL season. It has a wide variety of resources and tools that will help improve your FPL game today. It has a bunch of different members-only articles written by some of the best FPL managers across the globe, heat maps for all the players and positions, as well as player comparison tools, which will help you see side by side who is going to be more effective for your FPL team, fully customizable stats tables powered by Opta stats, and much, much more. Use the link down in the description below so that you can get access to the Fantasy Football Scout members area today. It'll help improve your FPL game. This video has been sponsored by Manscaped, the best in male below the waist grooming. Make sure to check out manscaped.com so you can see the latest and greatest updates to their lawnmower, as well as their performance package, and much, much more for all their gadgets and gizmos to help keep your family jewels looking as shiny as ever. Make sure to use the code FLAME20 so that you can get 20% off your next Manscaped order, as well as free worldwide shipping. Go check out manscaped.com today. And that is going to do it for Game Week 10's edition of our lineup preview. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and turn those notification bells on so you can get the content as soon as it's readily available. Also, drop us a follow over on Twitter so you can keep up to date with any and all FPL news, and give us a follow over on Twitch so you can join us live for our preview and deadline streams. There's a pinned comment down below to let you know the details on the deadline stream, which will be tomorrow, 1 hour before the FPL deadline, as per usual, which is slightly later because the 3 p.m. kickoffs are the first ones for the game week. And lastly, shout out to Fantasy Football Scout for being our partner for this season as well. well. You can check the link in the description below to give you all the details on signing up to Fantasy Football Scouts members area. It's going to help elevate your FPL game. Thank you all for watching, and until the next one, take care.